Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of the Power Book 2 Ghost finale. This is season 2, episode 10. This is where everything possible hits the fan. It is all glorious. It is all chaotic. I love this finale so much. I'm really excited for season 3 now.
Yeah, there was a lot of really satisfying moments that just had a lot of payoff.
There were also a lot of moments that I think can really be defined by one word more so than any other, and that word is oops. Lorenzo, I am looking at you.
No, there was a lot of not enough communication going on, and yeah, oops.
Okay, well, we've got a lot to get into in this review, but also, just so you guys know, later today, we are doing a full review of the Power Book 4 Force premiere. We've spoken to Joseph in the past. We love Tommy as a character. This has been sort of one of these shows we've been most looking forward to.
Yeah, we love Tommy as a character. We also love Joseph. I mean, outside of, Tommy is such like a badass.
Yeah.
Joseph is such an angel. He's so nice and so kind and just very humble. So it's always fun to see him playing Tommy because it's just such a departure from who he is.
Yeah, so hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any of that. And of course, we will be here to discuss all things Power Book 2 Ghost moving forward as well.
All right, so where do you want to start?
Okay, let's just start since I've already called him out on it. Lorenzo, you have.
Oh, Zeke!
I am actually unironically going to miss Zeke because Zeke was probably the most unintentionally hilarious character on this show for so many reasons, including his initial reaction to being older is, I'm not going to get drafted. He doesn't seem to care about anything else at that given. He was too pure for this world.
Yeah, he felt very wholesome in a lot of ways. I know that he, was Zeke the freak or whatever,
Yeah.
but he got so screwed over with so many things and had so many secrets. And,
Yeah.
After everything that sort of even happened with CARRIE, where he was being questioned at the end, where it was like, hey, by the way, we saw Monet on this traffic cam. You got anything you want to tell us? And he still decided to protect his family, but it really just ate him up inside. That scene with him in the car where he was really struggling with, should I go back in? Should I do something? Should I say something? And then he shows up at the airstrip to finally make his decision to be like, you know what? I am actually going to go with Monet. I am going to go with my dad. I am going to see how this new life works out for me. And then he gets shot by Lorenzo. My heart just smashed for him. Like I know that the character didn't have a lot more to do in sort of this world as far as like how can his story still branch into other stories, but why you gotta do Zeke like that? It was so sad.
This is the thing, and I thought about this a lot over this past week. It's just as we got closer to this finale, I was just like, oh, they're gonna do something terrible to Zeke, because it's like, as long as he is alive, Monet is going to have a potential out from this world somehow, even if he's playing professionally overseas and it takes him a while. Like, she's always gonna have that sort of what if, and with Zeke out of the equation, that what if is now gone. There is no clear escape route, and unfortunately losing this wonderful soul of Ezekiel Cross, who I am weirdly going to miss so much, is going to be the thing that really pushes Monet further into this.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit that was going on with after the trial. So we saw that Tariq ended up, having the whole thing dismissed because Brayden came out and he just took it all. He's like, yeah, I did it. Here, look, here's some paperwork. I'm the president of Course Correct.
Yeah.
I was like, good for you, Brayden. That's, you're really a good friend. And he knows that he will be protected. His family is powerful. He will get out of it. He's able to get out of it himself, plus help his friend, his best friend. It was I said at the beginning, lots of satisfying moments. that was a huge satisfying moment for me.
Yeah.
But it ended up like sort of trickling into this other story that's been going on with Jenny and Sax, and Jenny just feeling like she's not really able to get any justice for anyone. And with everything that happened to Lauren, which, it turns out she's dead,
Yeah.
so that's what happened. And then CARRIE with her suicide, and Lauren with her accident with the car. Jenny's really feeling it.
There's so much to get into here with Jenny, and in a way, I'm not going to say the prosecutors on Power Book 2 Ghost are really the Power universe as a whole are either effective or even likable much of the time, but I will say, it sucks to be Jenny. Like, it really, really sucks. For starters, your boyfriend is Cooper Sax. I do not wish that fate on anyone.
Listen, he came around at the end. It was actually pretty shocking to see that. But that conversation he had with her at the bar where he admitted that he thought about taking his life back in the original Power, and that this was something that he really struggled with, that he is ready to put everything on the line to actually get to, justice or doing the right thing by Lauren, by CARRIE, but mostly for Jenny. There's love there.
I love that Sax doing the right thing is still Sax, like betraying a lot of different people and crossing a million ethical lines. But I'll start.
It's always still going to be Sax. What are you going to do?
Sax goes Sax. I will say, I am slightly disappointed that we did not get Trace on the stand, only because I wanted to see Davis McLean ate this guy's lunch, like, to some level, because this guy's a real moron. He really had it coming. But Brayden.
Listen, Jenny really screwed this trial up twice.
Yes.
Like, I know that she couldn't really control whether or not Trace was sick or not, but she could have put Lauren on the stand. That last minute switch out with CARRIE, I don't get it. Like, they didn't convince me that after CARRIE just like crapped the bed on the stand, that then Jenny wasn't like, bring out Lauren. Like, what was the whole point of this wire for nothing?
As much as I enjoyed a lot of this finale, I do think the courtroom storyline just felt so anticlimactic at the end. And Power's done this before too, where it's just like they bring all the characters in. Brayden gives his really, powerful testimony. It's great and all that. But then, 15 minutes into the episode, it's just like, oh, yeah, the case is done. Tariq's fine. Doesn't have to worry about that anymore. It's just like, okay, all this for that.
And it seems like we're going to end up back in court or some sort of, mystery with the law coming back in again. Because at the end of this episode, we saw that Monet killed Mecca. And then we saw Blanca back. And she was in there, saw this grainy picture and was like, oh, it's Tariq. It is Tariq, and hello. So, I don't know. Listen, I don't want to watch another season of Tariq in court. I feel like there's a lot of other stuff that's going on in his life that is fascinating, that is interesting to watch. I don't think we need to see him on trial every season.
I'm a little disappointed too slightly, and that's going to be the investigation moving forward. I mean, don't get me wrong here. I like Blanca. I feel like she's like the only competent law enforcement officer in this entire universe. But I really thought that we were going to go into the who killed Lauren mystery moving into next season, because they even talked a little bit about this in the episode where, Sax is sort of saying, okay, it couldn't have been Tariq. And then there's this idea of, maybe it really is an accident. But I think I was just selfishly, I wanted to dive more into that because it could put more of an onus on Effie. And I think, we have made our love of Effie as a character very, very clear in these videos.
Yeah, and I think that we are going into that direction, but we won't get it till season 3. I mean, seeing Sax say what he said to Jenny, I think that they're going to look into it and it will give Effie a lot more sort of skin in the game.
Effie is also completely snowing Tariq in all of this. And even Brayden is not being honest with Tariq in all of this. And Tariq is usually is sort of on top of a lot of things. It's not that often on this show where you see, a murder of someone close to Tariq being explicitly hidden from him. I just wonder how long this secret is going to be kept, because I give it maybe like 2 episodes in season 3.
Okay, before we get into like the whole big plan, because that was really awesome. We're 10 minutes in. We haven't talked about Tasha. She was back, and it was so nice to see her back, and it makes so much sense. So we had Ghost's lawyer. I'm laughing because it's ridiculous. Okay, listen. So we know that Ghost's lawyer took some liberties here and went off script with what Ghost wanted.
Yeah.
Ghost was not the best dad. I'm not going to sit here and be like father of the year.
Yeah.
But he clearly didn't want his daughter to go and get adopted and have her name changed and have all that stuff happen if any family members were still alive. Her brother, her grandmother, her mother.
Yeah.
She has more family than some people out there have. She has quite a lot of family, including her mom.
Yeah.
So it was really unbelievable that this lawyer was deciding that 3 family members isn't enough. It means that the family has been wiped out and she's going to be adopted within a week, which is also not very believable. And then it was like, oh, and she needs to be hidden, but I'm going to drive you up to her house. And it happens to be her birthday too, so you could watch her having a cake through the window. It was all so strange. So then this episode, we have, now that you're no longer on trial, everything is dismissed, adoption is stopped. Yeah. This lawyer hurt so many people, went against what Ghost wanted in the first place, then hurt the grandmother, Tariq, Tasha, Yaz, the adoptive family, like going through adoption and trying to adopt somebody and having that child then ripped out of your home. I know a couple that went through this. They never really recovered from it. It is heart-wrenching for everyone. This lawyer needs to go. What a bad job, you messy.
There's so many things to talk about, including your disdain for Ghost Lawyer is one of my favorite things.
I can't stand him. He's so brutal.
Yeah, he sucks. Like, let's just say this. He's not a good lawyer. He seems to have no real comprehension of what, like, his clients want whatsoever. I mean, eventually, all this sort of stuff happens, and eventually we get to this point where Tariq, after learning about what happened to Lauren, he's suddenly like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Maybe Yaz really isn't safe for me. I need to find a way in order to ensure that Tasha can end up having Yaz. And, these strings are pulled that lead to Yaz and Tasha reuniting. All this is great.
So satisfying. It was such a good moment.
It's such a good moment, but it's also still kind of at the same exact time. How in the world is Tasha so disconnected? They're making it sound as though, and I'm not an expert in witness protection. I know that's going to surprise a lot of people out there, but I've never been through witness protection. But they made it seem as though Tasha was living in a cave in like the middle of the woods somewhere. She never knew what a television was. She never had an opportunity to read any news whatsoever. I feel like...
Except she was sitting in front of a computer when we first saw her.
I feel like Tariq's trial would make a few headlines here, and she's just acting as though she has no understanding of what's going on.
I feel that Yaz should have just been with Tasha from the beginning. Like, there was so much going on with Tariq this season that I don't think he necessarily needed to have I'm trying to get custody of my sister and everything that is going on with that. I think that they could have found another way, because then it got really messy with this lawyer storyline that just didn't make any sense. Like, it just didn't make sense. Okay, I'm done. It didn't make sense.
I'm not done. He sucks. Okay, no, the thing is just, it felt like season 1 and season 2, they were both like, okay, we had these characters that were important to Power. We don't have a function for them in Power Book 2, so how do we find a way to get these characters fundamentally out of this world? Because I don't know when we're going to see Tasha again. I don't know when we're going to see Yaz again. I will, give a tip of the cap here to Courtney Kemp, because I know we've watched some of her Instagram lives over time, and she did such a good job of like downplaying this Tasha thing and acting like this Tasha thing was impossible because Notori was on another show.
Yep.
And I bought that hook, line, and sinker. I didn't think there was any chance we would see Tasha in the finale.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I mean, she's really busy, but
Yeah.
I'm really glad that she found a way to come back even for that moment. It was so satisfying. Like it's the way that it needed to be, that they have new identities. They're going to be together, mom and daughter. It was good.
I kind of thought it was. I know this is a really serious circumstance, but it was kind of adorable how like practiced Yas was already in her new identity, that she's like going over it with Tamika in the car.
And I loved that even though Tree couldn't get out of the car and see his mom, that he still found a way to let her know that no matter what, he is going to find a way to come back to her, to have a life with her, that he's got a plan. He's going to find a way to make some more money. So we know next season, that his motivation is to be back with his family again.
I do have another question about the legal system here. Why was Tariq allowed to basically be outside of this place? Like, Tariq was just on trial.
I know.
The idea is, okay, we're supposed to not have people, and I know you guys moved her, and I understand all of that, but still, couldn't he have been somewhere else? Like, this did not feel like it was required Power legal system.
No, but I mean, him and Sax have a very complicated, long history together, and I think that as much as Sax is just slimy and doesn't do the right thing a lot of the times, I think he really felt for Tariq and just wanted to give sort of as much as he could without giving too much.
When the name Riley was brought up in this episode,
Oh
how terrified were you that you were going, okay, who's worse, Riley or Ghost Lawyer? No, I'm joking.
Ghost Lawyer.
No, but I'm glad we did not see Riley again. I will just say that.
Okay, so now we also need to talk about what I thought was the most satisfying moment in this whole thing. And
Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out to Kane.
Yeah.
And to the actor that plays Kane, Woody McLean. He is incredible. Like, if you guys have been around the channel for the past couple seasons that we've been covering this, you already know how much I love the Kane character. I love the actor. When he gets material where he's not saying a lot and he's just sort of, he's brooding, he's hurt, he's, reflective. Woody is so good at doing these types of scenes. He reminds me a lot of James Spader in that way, because James Spader, also incredible actor, but does some of his best work when he's actually not having to say anything and he's actually just showing me how he feels. And that scene with Kane and Tariq, where, we had this whole big thing that Mecca's like, no, I'm not going to kill Lorenzo. Kane has to do it. He's got to prove whatever. That when Kane and Tariq are talking in the dorm, and Tariq is really just having an honest moment with him, where he's like, listen, I killed my dad, and now you're facing the same thing, and it's something you're not going to be able to come back from. But it was such a powerful scene, and Kane didn't say anything, but when he turned to the camera and just had that look on his face and kind of like gulped down some feelings, I was just like, just drive the Emmys up to his house. Like, we're good. Just drive the Emmys up to his house.
He is so good. Like, Woody is amazing. I love the Kane character in general, because he's just so damaged in so many ways. Like, he's just been heartbroken and he's gone through so unbelievably much. And this entire plan, when I was sort of trying to keep track of who was doing what and what they were doing with all of it,
it was complicated.
I thought there was like a 0% chance that this was I thought it was gonna actually work out less than how it ended up working out, because it was like fully.
It still ended up with Zeke dead, so it wasn't great.
It wasn't great. I almost thought more people were gonna die, because it was just sort of the idea of, okay, we really gotta make Kane believe that he has to kill Lorenzo and try to sell this and try to have so many different people selling this. And then when Kane figures out, oh, this is not actually what I'm supposed to do, I kind of did love that he kind of progressively found out more and more all these different people were in on it, and he had to react to it like every single time.
Yeah, like seeing him at that warehouse where Tariq finally turned him and was like, no, you're not going to do this sort of thing. I mean, watching him sort of then hide back around, just have this like relief all again. He's saying everything without saying anything. It was incredible. However, it was interesting to watch Monet sort of trying to convince him to kill his dad, because every time it was like, he's my dad. What are you talking about? And she was like, well, what about this? Or how about this? He betrayed you. This happened. This happened. And the thing that he decides is when she's like, well, Tariq killed his dad. Oh, well, Tariq killed his dad. Well, now I'm going to kill my... I was like, oh, come on. I thought that we had moved past this.
I don't know if we're ever moving past it with Kane.
No, I don't think so.
I really hope we do, but this man is so obsessed with Tariq in so many different ways, and, you know, I don't think he's ever going to get over the fact that Tariq stole some of his thunder in season 1, and he will be a forever enemy of Kane because of that.
I'm really surprised that after sort of everything was starting to unravel about the Lauren car accident, and he kind of realized that Kane might be involved, that Tariq didn't really push that as hard as I would suspect that he would.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little bit shocked by that as well, and I don't know if he still has questions that he hasn't acted on yet, but it definitely feels like, okay, I know you and Lauren were not about to get married or anything, but you did care about Lauren a lot at one point in your life. I don't know if this is Tariq so hardened because it seems like every single person near to him either dies, gets in witness protection, or just hates him. Like, I don't know what it is.
I'm going to give him a pass and just say that it's because they were in the middle of a mission that he kind of, you know, he brought it up a little bit, and maybe he was like, you know, maybe this isn't the best time to talk about it. But I think he really does need to have that conversation. I think it's going to happen.
I am so excited now about season 3 just because of all of the like threads that still need to be pulled on a little bit more, because it's like, yes, Monet, you did kill Mecca. You resolved your Mecca problem, which, by the way, I don't know why Mecca ever believed in the first place that all these people were going to be willing to leave and go with him. But now Lorenzo is still out there, and Lorenzo is not. He does not exactly love Monet right now. It's like there's still a lot of tension there.
I also have questions on what's going to happen with Brayden. We saw that after he took the stand and said what he said, his father pulled him right out of school and is like, oh, you're going to go work for this hedge fund company now. And that was it. And he left. I was just like, okay, well, if his dad has enough pull to do that, pull him out of school and be like, you're doing this now and goodbye, and you're obviously never talking to Tariq again. I mean, Brayden's not going to stand for that, right?
Right?
Okay. I love Brayden and Tariq together. I can't.
I think they will find a way. I don't know what sort of way it's going to be, but I've seen some casting like notices for it. It sounds like they're bringing on some other people to play people in this hedge fund, so maybe Brayden will operate somehow in there. But they know that this is the friendship we live for. We can't move away from it for too long. Yeah,
I mean, maybe if he's working for the hedge fund company, maybe he's going to find a way to help wash money or something. I don't know.
Also, we have to tip our cap. I don't really want to, but we have to metaphorically tip our cap to, I guess, future Congressman Rashad Tate, who somehow gets something that he wanted out of this. I still don't really understand why any of this was in this season and why you're not just going ahead and giving Tate his own spinoff.
No, they have set up enough that it's time for him to move into his own spinoff. This isn't connected really anymore.
No, it's really not. But I want to see a scene with Stephen Ott and Cooper Saxe on like who is the more slimy, because Stephen Ott was basically just like, this photo's out, this is gonna go out there, sweetie. You gotta do this and do that, and Tate's taking your spot. It's like, who died and made you king?
Well, we also have to talk about Davis. So it seems like there's a lot more confirmation that he is behind some sort of manslaughter.
Yeah.
That his brother's in jail for. His brother has told him that he's gotten some bad information from his doctor. So it seems like maybe dying. I don't know how that's all going to end up playing out next season, but I'm interested.
Method Man's such a revelation to me on this show. I did not know coming into this anything about him as an actor, but that scene in this episode where, Tariq is trying to accuse him of, you're double dipping, you're violating the rules here, you owe me money, and then, ultimately Davis is just sort of like, oh, you're going to do that? If you do that, then it's going to show that, you and Kane have a little something going on here. So I'm going to keep my money. I was just like, man, this scene is so good. Like, he is so on it when it comes to just like this sort of understanding of the law. And I don't know if there's a foreshadowing where he's basically like, Tariq, you could make a good lawyer someday.
Yeah, I heard him say that. And I was like, that's very interesting. So you never know.
All right, this is the sad thing. We are at the end of season 2, and this has been a bizarre, crazy, thoroughly entertaining ride. I don't know where they're going to go from here. We've lost so many characters, but...
Yeah, we have, but I think that they've set up a lot of really good stories for next season. There's a lot of question marks that I'm sitting on, being like, what's going to happen to Effie? Is Brayden coming back?
Yeah.
How is Tariq going to make the rest of his money, because he needs money to be able to get to his family? What's going to happen with the Tejada family? I mean, they're really broken. Nobody trusts anybody. There's a lot that's going to come up next season. A lot. I'm so sad it's over. It was good, really good season.
But here's the good news. Force begins. It's like one book closes, another one opens, and I didn't even mean that as a Power Book pun, but here we are. But you know what? We will be back soon to talk about the Power Book 4 Force premiere. Thank you guys for hanging out with us all season on Ghost. Hit that subscribe button, and we will see you here next time.